Hi everyone. I want to show you some pictures that I took with the X-E3. Okay, so this is my first picture I took with the X-E3, and it was with a 23mm lens. And not bad for a first picture. The blacks are they're not very noisy at all. Pretty good actually, as a matter of fact. I like it. And the colors too. Okay, this one, the previous one was, let me see. It's a raw file, and I'm not sure. Yes, it has been touched. Okay, next one is a cat, and we'll see if we can get the info here. All right, there it is. 23mm lens. Not bad. A lot of detail. Maybe a little bit of shakiness there. It's at 1/60th of a second. This one was very interesting. I took it outside, found this plant, and it looks unnatural, sort of. It almost looks like a fake plant, or like the background was just made up. But that is this guy. It's a very nice picture with the 23mm, again, with the Fuji XE3. This one took me by surprise. This is a raw, and I processed it. Very nice, very rich colors, very exaggerated, of course. You can see the truck over here is like kind of super dark red. But it reminds me a lot of the kind of like the Velvia film on Fuji. The cool thing is that the dynamic range is pretty superior in this picture. I was able to bring out the clouds, and there's some details in the shadows here, and this plant or tree really pops out. This is the same picture, different orientation, different way of coloring it. This one's on an elevator, and it almost feels like it's in the afternoon or something, but it wasn't. This was taken during the day, like, I don't know, 9 or 10 in the morning. And this is a raw picture. This one's in the morning. This is 23mm. And it's, I like it. There's a lot of details here. And for a crop sensor, it's a well done job for the camera. Here we were at a winery, Ponte, over there in kind of like near San Diego, north of San Diego. And this is I think this is an orange tree. There it is, Ponte. And you get to see the details of the sign, which is pretty neat. And they had some grapes there. This one was at f2.0, 400 ISO, 23mm. This is the f2 lens. And some more pictures of this one. Is a JPEG actually, so no processing. A lot of details. Look at that. Turning into raisins. Very nice color indeed. And I don't remember, I mean, it doesn't tell you right here what it is. Won't. But I'm pretty sure it was probably Velvia or close to it. Can't be absolutely sure. Here's another JPEG version. These pictures are out of the box, no processing whatsoever. And if you can definitely get the exposure, I like to use the exposure compensation to bring out my subject. But definitely the raw files, you can definitely do a lot more than this. But this is really nice. This one has been processed, and definitely you can see that the blues are a little different, not much. And really nice detail in the shadows, not too much noise. And then again, pixel peeping is not really like important. Not as much as it used to be maybe 10 years ago. Very colorful picture here. It's been processed. This one, there's some, this is just to prove a point that image stabilization would be awesome. This is probably some handshaking there. This is 1/10 of a second. But still, you know, it's not that great. But you can see what it can do at 1/10 of a second. Another sign with a lot of details. This one is raw, and it's been processed. And you can still see some details here. 23mm is really not a macro lens, but not bad. Here's another flower. Probably a little bit overexposed. This is another raw picture. Not bad for what it is. This one I like because it has this like beautiful, you know, bokeh. And this is 2.5, f2.5, 23mm. I love this white and this black. Really nice, not bad. And here's another one. This one is raw, and you can see some details on the petals. Still really nice, and you got this like beautiful bokeh in the back. Here's another one. This one's raw, and it's been processed. Really nice, clean. And then this picture is at night on the road, and pretty amazed at its ability to not break down so much in the blacks. This is at 1250 ISO, 1/60th of a second, but this one is the 16mm lens, which I really like. I like the 16mm for night pictures because it brings me down. This is to f1.4 compared to an f2. One stop of light does make a difference. Here's a 3200. I was pretty surprised at 3200. It is pretty clean. Now, I don't use too much of the sharpening or noise reduction, as you can see over here. This is right out of the box almost. Yeah, actually it is out of the box. I did not process this at all, which is not bad. And here's another picture at 400 ISO, 16mm. And you can barely see that person. Again, this is at night, 1.4. This is incredible. And this is the same picture from the first picture that we saw, but this one's using a 16mm lens. And it's really nice. There's a lot of details. The blacks are really nice. I don't see any luminance issues or like really weird blacks, you know, that have all these like weird different colors to it. And this is 3200, 1/60th of a second, which is pretty crazy. More night pictures. This is a JPEG, so this is not a lot of contrast there, but not bad. Here's another picture, probably the same night. This is 1000 ISO with 16mm, the f1.4. Going back to Ponte, which is the winery. And this one, I believe it was a RAW, and I took it into Google's processing or engine to, oh no, wait, no, no, it's not. I remember now. This picture has been stitched. I remember now. Probably 3 pictures put together. It's a panel, and Lightroom did that. And it's been colored a bit, processed. Not bad. Definitely, I can put some more work into this, in this picture. But for putting it together very quickly, not bad. This is another panorama. This one probably was like 5 pictures put together. And the computer, computer did awesome. The Lightroom processing is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure if you look really closely, you'll probably find maybe some weird merge. It's possible. It's happened. It's not bad. And again, this was these were RAWs and they were put together. This one's an interesting picture. This is 16 millimeters, 3200 ISO at f 1.4 at 1/20th of a second, which I was really surprised. I was really pushing the camera, and this is pitch dark. And you can see there's some camera shake. You can see that this light's not perfect. And this is a panorama as well. So I took probably 4 pictures or 5. And Lightroom did a great job. Very interesting. Not bad. Not too much noise. This is a bit muddy looking. Not too, there's a lot of dynamic range. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of dynamic range, but it doesn't look like anything's popping, except maybe for these branches and such. But you can see that there's some details in the branch or this trunk, right? This tree branch, tree trunk, and the trees, and then also the sky. This has been processed. This is a RAW. Here's another one, less dramatic. Nothing special. Most of these pictures are okay. All I want you to know is taking snapshots, with the camera. There is you're expecting the same quality as the other Fuji cameras, and you do. This is a RAW also. This one's a little bit unrealistic. This is a RAW file, been processed. You can see it looks really bright and poppy, and also a little bit of haze, just a little bit. I kind of like those type of colors, the really brights. I like to bring up the shadows, but you can definitely see that there's a lot of detail. 1/60th of a second again. This is at f 5.0 at ISO 200 with the 16mm f 1.4. And we have a bird that was just walking by. This one hasn't been processed. You can see that the camera, when you take a picture in RAW, it's trying to really pick up as much information as it can. And this one is, I believe, I'm not sure if I did cut this or not. Let me see. I did. So you can see it here. I did cut it, and I made it a little bit more brighter, and it's really nice. A lot of details. Now, of course, if you zoom in probably like 500, 400%, sure, you're not going to see as much details. But for printing, this is perfect, and especially, this is backlit. The background is dark. This gives it a nice pop. Most likely, this can be cleaned up down here in the grass area and such, but not bad for just snapping a picture. Again, this has that sort of unrealistic look, really like bright, not very saturated in colors, not much. And this is also a panorama. This one's a little more realistic, sort of. It almost has that kind of like a sharp look to them, right? sharp, bright look, very contrasty. And none of these have sharpening. Believe me, I don't usually, you can see over here, I don't do any sharpening at all or noise reduction. This one is a little bit, kind of like a high dynamic range type picture, right? I guess this one is sort of high dynamic range, probably not, but this one is. You can feel like everything's sort of bright, even though it's getting dark. But that's how the picture was. I mean, that's how the picture was. That's how I remember the scene. And here is a, this picture was taken at night. The Fun Factory. And colors are nice and rich. You can see that I did process that. Here's another picture at night, 16 millimeters, f1.4, 30 seconds, f10, ISO 200, and not bad, actually. Not bad at all. I mean, for just doing, I think I took like 3 of these pictures. I was just messing around with the settings, and I was able to get it. Again, nothing fantastic. But you can see that it's holding a lot of detail, and it's not breaking down in the blacks. And this is, I think, a $60 crab. Probably less, but still, it's great dinner. That's a raw, not processed. And this is a nice picture. I really did like this picture. Now that I'm seeing it again, this was taken at night, as you can see, f1.4. This 16 millimeter f1.4 lens is a fantastic lens. I like it more for video, but taking pictures at night, you can't beat it. That extra light, I mean, if you have a 1.4 or 2.8, use a 1.4. If you have a 1.4 or 2.0, you can probably use one or the other, but the 1.4 is better. The 16 millimeter 1.5, there's something magical about that lens. Unfortunately, well, maybe not, but the lens is a little bit, not big, but medium size for the X-E3. Definitely the 23 is much smaller. And a lot of details. Look at that. You can see how dirty it is, the sign. You can even see the moon. And a little detail there. Of course, I'm not exposing for the moon, but definitely you can see at 1.4 there is a lot of depth of field. And this was taken at night, backlit a little bit, and it's been processed, as you can see right there. This one's taken at night as well. 1/10 of a second, f1.4. And yeah, a little handshake. You know, there's some movement there. Not too much, but not too bad. Usable. This one, I think, is an interesting picture. So in the morning, the light goes through glass that's not, it's like one of those bathroom glass, frosty glass. And the light that comes out is really beautiful. When I took this picture, it almost captured that beautiful glow and look. I think it's still a little too blue. It is something like that, but it probably is a little more gold, maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, that's too green right there. I don't like that. Let's go back to what it was. There's much more I can do with this, but you can see kind of like a creamy looking color. That 16 millimeter lens is awesome. Look, 1/25 of a second. Wow. Not bad. There's some handshake there. Oh, you can tell. There is. Again, you can use a tripod. You can easily pump the ISO probably. A picture of the cat. It's interesting how you focus on the nose and the eyes are not focused anymore, especially at 1.4 1600 ISO. This is a raw picture and hasn't been processed. Not bad. And this is a picture at night. This one has been processed. You know, bring out these greens here. The blacks, I'm so amazed about the blacks. I'm really happy that there is no like noise, really. Like when you do a video, you will see some noise at a certain level. But taking pictures, the noise is just reduced. Okay, I think that's it. You got kind of like an idea of all the pictures that I've taken so far with the camera. I like the camera. I like it that with the 23 millimeter, it's sort of, but not quite like the X100F. Though the X-E3 gives me a lot of flexibility to use different lenses. Unfortunately, using something like the 1655 f2.8 on the X-E3, it's a little bit too top heavy. A little bit hard to carry around. Using the 16 millimeter f1.4 on the X-E3, though, is a compromise in terms in that I'm going to get, you know, 2 stops of light compared to the 16 to 55, and I'm going to get also 1 extra stop of light compared to the 23 f2. And if you want to take pictures at night, yes, you can take it with the with the 2.8 or the 2.0. No problem. You can do that. But you're going to have to pump up the ISO a little bit, right? Right here, it's 1.4, 1250. So at 2.0, this will have to go up, right, to 2500, probably, or 1/30th of a second. Either way, it is possible. All right, well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed these pictures, and I'll be seeing you soon.